Well, in this week's Small Towns Trip, a photographer from the Fox Valley who's been capturing the picture-perfect moments across northeast Wisconsin for over 20 years. NBC 26's Eric Crest has the man's journey from Appleton to South Korea's Olympic Games.
Dan Powers has been capturing the perfect moment in day-to-day news for Appleton's Post-Crescent newspaper for 23 years now.
There's a subtle difference between what would be considered a nice picture and like a great picture, and it can just be a 2,000th of a second.
Having the right timing at a high school ball game is one thing, but developing the eye needed for mass circulation of your photo is another altogether.
There are times where you know that there's a moment that's happening that's you're gonna remember forever.
This winter, Mr. Powers had the chance to capture those forever moments on a regular basis for 16 consecutive days when he was invited by USA Today Sports to the Olympics for the third time in his career.
At that high level, I mean, I'm just hanging on to keep up with these guys because they're all at the top of their game. These are some of the best photographers in the whole world, and I'm just from little Appleton, Wisconsin.
While in South Korea, Powers covered a handful of the competitions that most of us only see on TV once every 4 years.
Figure skating is a good example. I'd never shot that before. Most of these are sports that you normally don't cover on a day-to-day basis, so there's a challenge of photographing something that you don't know that much about.
But Powers is a seasoned veteran with a camera, and he knows what he needs to get the right shot.
There was one that was pretty good and the one that was like spot on.
Sometimes snapping that perfect moment requires patience.
You have a lot of obstacles to work around.
Other times it takes a bit of luck.
I was proud of that one.
But more often than you might expect, getting the perfect picture that will grace the covers of sports sections across the country, well, it requires showing up and getting the perfect seats.
Every event I went to, I was either the first or second person there.
And while just showing up is said to be half of every challenge in life, Powers knows that at every shoot, there will be those who win and those who lose on both sides of the camera.
Every day is like a tryout, and hopefully, you go through it and you have a good tryout throughout.
So despite how grand the stage is that the athletes are competing on, there's always a memorable moment that Powers is fighting for. And if you're at the right place at the right time, even here in northeast Wisconsin, you might become the focus of his always developing story.
Certainly the Olympics is a more unique situation, but I like coming home and back, getting down to the regular stuff too.
Right back home here in northeast Wisconsin, covering small towns for NBC 26, I'm Eric Crest.